Hey guys, we're back. Might and magic, gates to another world. So I wanted to do a little introduction here. Let's start right at the beginning. New World Computing. About New World Computing. With subject matter ranging from fantasy role-playing adventures to tongue-in-cheek wargames, players have come to expect the unexpected from New World. Small wonder, since New World's designers know what it means to play. Their interests range beyond computer and video games to include race car driving, rollerblading, and board gaming. As New World founder John Van Caneghem puts it, the best life is a fun life. You should know. Yeah, so that is also what I meant. As a teenager, I took the game like way more serious. I thought it was like super, I don't know, solemn or somber, something like that. And now I see it as being way more playful, and I can see that motto here, like fun. The best life is a fun life. Really throughout the whole game. Yeah. But let's go into the background. That is important to know, I think. I haven't played Might and Magic Part 1, so I assume that it will be like partially a reference to that game. The events that are described here will probably include events from that game, but I don't know. Anyway, I think it's good to know the whole background because it will play a role during the game. Sorry if the book is a little bit dirty from time to time. It's a very old book. Introduction. I, Korak the Mysterious, authored this history of the world called Cron. Notice all caps. Does that have a meaning? Maybe. Ages ago, the four elemental lords coveted the void that separated their domains. While the other three bickered, Aqualander, the Water King, sorry for butchering the names here, it's just a guessing game for me. The Water King flooded the void with a vast sea. The center was thus his to rule. The other elemental lords watched from their corners and grew jealous, each thinking they should rule the center. Two of them, Shalwent the air tyrant and Pyronasti, or Pyronast, not sure, the fire monarch, invaded the sea. But they did not attack together. Just as they sought to defeat Aqualander, they also sought to defeat each other. There were no alliances possible between them, and the battle seemed endless. The Earth Emperor Grakor the Cruel and his minions struck, and the war turned in their favor. Notice that all of them have they're like cruel or tyrant, or the least worst one, that's somewhat neutral, is Monarch, the fire guy, fire elemental. And yeah, the whole thing is basically like an origin story, or rather like a creation story, like we have in all religions, almost, I guess. So we have the four elements fighting it out against each other. However, the elemental lords allied against him and hatched a scheme. Water would soak them in a great flood, then fire would bake them to dust, and finally air would lift them up and scatter them, breaking their power forever. But Grakor foresaw this, and his minions merged to form a great continent. Water could soak it, but not sink it. Fire could crack it, but not crumble it. Air could carry it away as dust, but the dust returned to the greater mass. Grakor could not be defeated. He assumed supreme power, and air, fire, and water were forced to bow to him. Where the elements mixed, the world of Cron appeared. This time not written in all caps. Gralkor's continent became the surface of Cron. Soon other beings appeared, humanoid beings known as humans, elves, gnomes, and dwarfs. They appeared weak, but possessed unexpected power. Water beaded on their skin, air swirled past them. Fire burned them, but the burns healed, and they farmed and mined the earth. But the humanoids' greatest power was the power of magic, which they used to make Cron their own. Only then did Gralkor recognize their might. Gralkor fought back, but the humanoid spells destroyed his minions. To defeat Gralkor himself, the most powerful humanoid spellcasters met on the Isle of the Ancients and created an orb of power and 4 talents to hold it. 1 talent for each element. When the talents and orb were combined, they could dominate or destroy any elemental. Gralkor saw this and knew he must strike. But tests were necessary to perfect the orb and talents. Yet Gralkor unleashed his fury before they could even begin. Cron's greatest warriors and sorcerers died in the first attack. Only 1 minor princeling was left to complete the tests. His name was Cron. He mastered the orb and talents and pledged to overthrow Gralkor. This sounds like it could have been featured in the first part, like small guy becoming the hero, like little princeling, minor princeling, but I'm not sure. His name was Cron. Cron, not sure. He mastered the orb and talents and pledged to overthrow Gralkor. So he scaled Cron's tallest peak and challenged the elemental lords. The battle that followed leveled the summit where Cron stood. In its place is the fatal plain, still called the Dead Zone. But the power of the orb overcame the elementals, sealing them in the world's corner behind mighty barriers. Cron placed a talent in each elemental zone, but kept the orb against the elementals' return. With the elemental forces banished, civilization began. Cron became King Cron the Conjurer, ruler of a golden age. People were happy and content. But banished Gralkor seized over the elemental's defeat. His rage took shape as a creature of terrible wickedness. Filled with the destructive power of fire, Gralkor had extorted from, I think this is a typo, from, I will go with the first spelling, from Pyranasti. The first and greatest dragon was thus born, and was sent forth to destroy first the king and then all of Cron. Cron and the dragon met on the beautiful savannah of Plenty, but the Conjurer King was old now, and had only the orb, not the talents, for aid. Alas, it was not enough. Just as Cron called forth a great water shield, the dragon's fiery breath destroyed him. Yet the king's spell still took form, and water gushed forth in a great torrent, the good old great torrent, engulfing both the savannah and the dragon. Unable to swim, he drowned. Well, most dragons do have wings, though. I don't know. Tough luck, I guess. Cron was safe from the dragon, but still suffers. The Savannah of Plenty is now the Quagmire of Doom. I love the names that they gave them. Some of the other names are lazy, so like the city names especially. They have like Tundra for like the tundra, and Atlantium for Atlantis basically, and I don't know, Middlegate, super lazy because it's right in the middle. But let's not be too harsh. I'm a lazy boy myself, so cannot complain about that. No, I still like the game. That is a very minor complaint. Cron was saved from the dragon, but still suffers. The Savannah of Plenty is now the Quagmire of Doom, where the lost orb is set still to rest. Lesser dragons entered through the weakened elemental barriers. Princess Lamanda, Callan's daughter, ascended the throne, but her rule is tenuous. A dark, chaotic age has settled upon Cron. All that remain of past glories are tales of warriors and wizards, and the mournful lay of tragic lord, King Callan the Vanquished. Love how the title changed there. But if the orb and talents are found, yeah. So much for that introduction. What is interesting here is the timeline. That seems a bit weird. Like I said, I've written an FAQ about it. We can take a quick look at that. Let me show you the timeline. Let me zoom in a little. Hope you can somewhat see it. Alright, there we go. So in the era 0, there is the void. And then every 100 years we get all the elementals to reign, basically. And Gralkor, the earth elemental, at last. And then 100 years later, the land of Cron has been formed through the war between the earth's elemental and the other ones. And it's always 100 years steps, so they're kind of keeping it simple there. And I think you can get that info from a dungeon underneath the city or so. Don't remember where I got that info. First humans, and yeah, there's additional info. Lord Hart, we will read about him in a minute, and his ancestors, where they can be found in certain eras. King Callan appears 700, era 700, and Lord Hart's ancestor, the Long One, which is a cool name. Kind of reminds me of like Slender Man stuff. 100 years later, they have like a gigantic lifespan. King Callan battles the Mega Dragon, and Castle Xabran is erected or appears. Not sure. Is there? Let's put it. And another 100 years later is the present time, and Queen Lamanda, which is King Callan's daughter, rules. So that we have, like, the last 200 years, there's King Callan lived for like, it's kind of hard to say. You could say he died at the very end of the era, and the battle took place at the beginning of the next era. But how can his daughter be alive then? This doesn't make any sense unless they have like an unnatural lifespan, right? And in the year 1000, it is the proclaimed end of the world. So that's a looming threat over us, over the whole world. So I kind of tested this prophecy, and I just rested for like, 100 days, I guess, or I don't know, at least till the year 1000. And if you want to know, nothing happens. So this is kind of like an empty threat. Anyway, there's some other stuff in the book. Let me zoom out a bit again. That I also wanted to read as an introduction. Let me see. I hope the lighting is somewhat okay-ish. And the surface is not too shiny. They kind of tend to reflect if they get like direct lighting. So encounters, we don't need that. But I wanted to give you a general overview over the quests that are available, because that is kind of, there are like not main quests, but they're also important in another way. You have some like second-grade important quests if you want to. And they're also interesting because the first one, the Jorah's quest here, it is basically a one-on-one fight where you can only take the thieves or robbers with you. So you really have to plan a little bit different here, which makes it more interesting. I've rarely seen that in modern RPGs. So I guess because they have like the graphics didn't need as much work as they might need today. So I guess they could put more thought into like game mechanics and the quest design and how the whole process works. And I don't know, or maybe they were just creative. Anyway, I like what they came up with. I really like, especially this thing. So you get a little each party member gets a little moment for himself. That's great. I like that. And he has a test, or if you have like two of the same class, maybe they have a test just for themselves. But you rarely will have like more than two of a certain class in your party, right? Yeah, I mean, normally a party is like pretty mixed. So the jurors of Mount Farview have devised a series of quests to determine who is worthy to save the world of Cron. Cron. Isn't that the name of Conan the Barbarian's world as well? Not sure. Yeah, I think the game was made in 1988, right? Yeah, but we'll get to the name of Cron at some point, I think. Knights must joust with the Dread Knight. Paladins must defeat the Frost Dragon General. Archers must shoot Baron Wolfrey. Clerics must bring Korak's soul to his body and reunite them. And you can also see that not all are just a one-on-one fight. There's also variation in the quests themselves. Like you have to do a task here with Korak's soul. That, of course, involves fighting, but it's not about just kill that one bad dude, right? So that's, they like variety, and I like it as well, very much so. Sorcerers must free the good wizard Jacob and the evil wizard Jepmok from stasis. Notice that the names here are mirrored. If you turn it around, it says Pokey and Gumby. I think that is like an Easter egg reference to some, well, most other names that do that from 70s or 80s cartoon or television series, something like that. I don't know the names. Pokey and Gumby doesn't tell me anything, but I bet they were somewhat prominent or famous back then. Barbarians must defeat the barbarian chieftain. Ninjas must assassinate Dawn and her Mistcairn. Robbers merely have to accompany at least one adventurer on their quest. So they are the one exception to the classes, but they're not as useful as a cleric. They're just, yeah, you basically, they're like a joker. Anyway, the Triple Crown. Holders of black tickets may compete in specified arenas for the Triple Crown. Simply buy 3 black tickets from the appropriate vendor in Atlantium. Takes these tickets to the arena, the Monster Bowl, and the Colosseum. So yeah, you have that color code system, like green, yellow, red, black, I think. And you can buy tickets for all of these, and you get tickets of these of this kind, and you get different treasure for all of them, and have to fight different monsters that get increasingly difficult. So, but the black ticket is like the final one. So if you want to complete the triple crown quest, you need to do that. And yeah, they're quite like high level monsters. Lord's quests. We also have that. 3 of the Lords of Cron seek Crusaders to go on special quests for them. Only parties with at least one member who has the Crusader skill may accept such a quest. All of these quests are perilous, and death is a certain fate of those who are not prepared for them. But for those who succeed, the rewards are fabulous. Lord Slayer seeks the heads of 3 powerful beasts to complete his array of trophies. The first is the Dragon Lord, who might be found in or near the Dragon's Dominion. The second is the Queen Beetle, who is said to dwell around the Desert of Desolation. I love the names and all that. The tone that they try to strike. I don't know. Not a native speaker, if you haven't noticed yet. And and last is the Serpent King, who is seen near the nomadic Rift Canyon and the Inner Limits. Lord Hordle craves 3 powerful swords to round out his weapon collection. The Sword of Valor is hidden around the area of Castle Pinehurst in Saraken's Mine. The Dead Zone is disturbingly near the hiding place of the Sword of Nobility, and it is to be hoped that the Sword of Honor still rests near the Quagmire of Doom and Dawn's Mistbog, rather than in them. And here we get the little Lord Heart from before. Lord Heart's quest is less capricious and greedy. See, I like how they phrase that. That's really, I don't know, it's fun. He seeks the return of 2 relics from his family's glorious past. To locate them, the party should be on the best terms best of terms with Lord Peabody. Funny name either, but I think this is an actual English name. Further, they should be prepared to spend a great deal of time traveling. So yeah, time traveling is a thing. Let me see. There's also a section about time traveling. Elemental planes. Yeah, we can read those if we get there. Same with the city descriptions, the dungeons. So yeah, it's only a small portion, but let's read it quickly. Time travel. To win might and magic, it will be necessary for your party to travel into the past. An audience with Lord Peabody is necessary to accomplish this. The game begins at the dawn of the 10th century of the world of Cron, the year 900. That year and the time that passes after the beginning of the game is the true time. Any visits to the past will be merely temporary. The Cron of bygone days will not be the same as you have come to know. People, things, and even places will be different, and perhaps not even there at all in the past. Yeah, that's the thing. You basically you still have the same maps with the roads and everything, but monsters appear everywhere and nowhere is safe, and it's like, I don't know, it's like the whole layout doesn't really matter anymore. But still, I really appreciate that they implemented at least some things, the whole concept basically of time travel, and some quests do lead into a different time, to a different era, and that as a teenager that was a great feeling. I was a bit disappointed after I found out that you can't do too much besides fighting in most of the times, but still, just the fact that you have like the whole world, the same size of the map in a different era, was a really cool and impressive feeling. So Yeah, and perhaps not even there at all in the past. And the duration of trips to the past will be unpredictable. While resting, you might be transported back to the moment when you left. Yeah, so that is basically telling you how you get back from there. Also from the elemental planes, you get back by resting. Yeah, there's also another thing that I want to go through quickly. It's yeah, let's not go into the description of the cities, but the general descriptions of the concepts might be interesting. Let's quickly go through that. The cities. Oh, damn, it's reflecting too much. The cities of Cron offer many opportunities as well as many dangers. Most sorcerer and cleric spells can be acquired in the city's magic guilds and temples. City blacksmiths buy and sell armor, weapons, and miscellaneous items. They can also identify magical items found while adventuring. Taverns sell food to take on the road, exotic drinks that can enhance statistics, and unusual meals that can give hints to solving quests and puzzles. Yeah, that's also great about the game. I rarely see that in newer RPGs. You have, like, if you eat something, an event might pop up somewhere completely at a completely different, unexpected place, or there's a connection to a certain spell or something. That's just great. There's so much variety and different things in the game. I really love that. They're also a good place to pick up rumors. Every city has portals that will let the party travel immediately from city to city if they pay a fee. 3 of the cities have arenas where the party can fight monsters for rewards. Valuable secondary skills can be learned from various tradesmen. And beneath every municipality, dangerous caverns beckon. The 5 cities of Cron and their general location, yeah, like I said, that is a bit not super creative, right? Let's put it that way. Lancia, Middlegate, Sandalbar, Tundra, Volcania. Of course, Volcania is in the near the elemental plane of fire. The castles. Castles are the most magnificent and complex structures in Cron. All have complex and dangerous ground levels to explore, and they also have dungeons, some going as deep as 2 levels under the earth. The 5 castles in Cron and their general locations. Alright, those have rather normal names. Like Luxus Palace Royale, though. Very humble. And then we got the caverns. Caverns are found in almost every region and under every city. All are sources of treasure and many have important clues. Yeah, that's where I got the timeline, the timetable, I think. Important clues that will help the party solve Cron's deepest mysteries. The 16 caverns in Cron, other than the ones below the 5 cities and the general locations. So we got that. Yeah. And then, last but not least, the dungeons. There are dungeons beneath every castle in Cron except Castle Xabron. The entrances to these dungeons are hidden within the castles themselves. So the dungeons have the same regional coordinates. Coordinates? The castles above them do. Some dungeons, however, can be entered through mystic teleporters located in other dungeons or in the wilderness. The strongholds of sorcery on the Isle of the Ancients are also classified as dungeons because of their complexity and relative danger. Darkkeep and the Tower of Mercy. Yeah. I mean, man, look at this book here. The size of it. It's like super thick, almost like a finger, right? It was that was quite impressive. I loved that as a kid. Also, I loved Ultima 4 for the Sega Master System, and came with 2 books that were a little smaller than this one, but still, also a map. Sometimes games do that, like modern games or newer games. Skyrim had a nice map, came with a nice map, and yeah, some companies do that to please the retro game crowd, I guess, or just because it's neat. If you have like something tactile, something physical to touch, that's always great. And man, this yeah, I was running around with this book, and I don't know, just diving into my own little fantasies and had worlds. It was a fun time. So that's pure nostalgia for me, seeing all these drawings and everything. I mean, think about it. You got a whole book with a game, right? Pretty amazing. These are like 170 pages. Look at that. I mean, it's small and there are tables and weapon tables and whatnot, but still quite a lot of info here. Yeah, I think there was more that I wanted to say that I have forgotten at the moment, but I think that will do for now as an intro. Yeah, I hope everything will work out with the recording, also in the future with the game. It's not always easy, the older the games are. We'll see. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye.